Olá, bom dia. Então, tudo bem?
Welcome to Quinta dos Malvezes. This property is in the Upper Douro Valley on the riverfront, south-facing vineyards, where we have the classic varieties that are typical of the Douro. We have Touriga Franca, Touriga Nacional, Suzão, Alicante Pichet, Barroca, and these grapes give rise to some fantastic wines that make up the base of the great wines that Graham's produce. This vineyard has been part of Graham's wines for over 100 years and is an extraordinary vineyard. The Douro Valley is the largest mountainside vineyard area in the world. It has 45,000 hectares of vineyard. The vineyard starts by the river at about 100 meters of altitude, rising up in the highlands to up to 600 meters altitude. This variation of altitude and exposure of the vineyard creates extraordinary microclimates all over the region, giving rise to some of the most fantastic wines in the world.
I think Charles he said he was going to be in the Stone Terraces. Charles?
Okay, head on down here.
How's it all looking at the moment?
Estamos aqui na Quinta do Tua, é uma propriedade que tem de vinha 22 hectares, tem uma altitude que vai dos 150 metros aos 220 metros, tem uma particularidade de ficar toda a quinta exposta a sul, em que dá, digamos, características para uvas e para os vinhos feitos dessas uvas excepcionais. É uma quinta composta toda com solos xistosos, foi instalada com muros de suporte, é uma vinha bastante antiga. Estes muros são do século XVIII, princípios do século XIX, e que nos dá vinhos extraordinários.
Vai, Sr. Aurélio, tudo bem?
dia de vindima na Quinta dos Malvezes começa sempre às 7 da manhã. Normalmente é a chegada dos trabalhadores, onde previamente foram distribuídas as caixas de vindima. É feito antecipadamente sempre um planeamento sobre o corte das uvas para esse dia.
Olá, Alexandre. Viva, bom dia. Alexandre, quantas pessoas aqui a vindimar?
É à volta, o grupo é à volta de 25 pessoas.
Mais o resto. Bem doce. Uma maturação perfeita, não é?
Muito equilibrado.
Hi Charles, how are things? All good?
Well, yeah, coming along nicely.
Perfect day for a vintage.
Certainly is. Certainly going to be a small year, but in terms of quality, I think it's going to make up for it. The quality is exceptionally good. Aqui estamos na Quinta dos Malvezes, estamos no meio da vindima e hoje estamos a colher Torriga Nacional. Nós aqui no Quinta dos Malvezes estamos a colher a volta de 14 pipas por dia e as uvas são vendimadas no momento ideal. Cada casta em sua vez. Normalmente começamos com a tinta barroca, passando pela tinta roriz, a Torriga Nacional e no fim a casta que é mais atrasada costuma ser a Torriga Franca.
My name is Henry Schotten and I'm responsible for the winery here during the harvest. The winery behind me that you can see is actually from 1890 and it was renovated, part upstairs, with our modern lagars in 2000. I have a team of 24 people in the vineyard, 25 people who come every day, and we have that number because that number is sufficient to fill one lagar per day. And that's what we want. We're not in a hurry here. All we're talking about is quality and making the best wines possible. And that lagar, which will then be trodden at night, 4 hours, will begin to ferment during the night, and then we will cap plunge it until it's ready to be fortified. Here in the winery, I have a team of 8 people. Some of them have been here for many years, and actually we've become a team of friends. You can see behind me some tunnels, so each one of those tunnels will hold one fermentation. The wine will then rest here over the winter, where it will settle. Then it'll be racked in December, January, and then we will have a big tasting, which is probably the most important tasting of the year, where we will then assess the quality of the lots and start blending them together.
Here we are in the Graham's sample room. This is like a library of wines where we have a sample of every wine that we hold in stock. These wines can range from anything from wines like Noabli from 1882 right up to wines from the last vintage. This selection of wines are very carefully treated over a very long period of time and will then make up all the different wines for Graham's blends. Today we are looking at Old Tawny ports, and these wines will, some of the youngest, be 4 or 5 years old, which will be starting their aging period in large wooden vats. And then we'll move, as they get older, once they're 5, 6 years old, into cask, smaller wooden barrels, and will age and be finally blended into lots that will be bottled at a later stage. These wines require a constant attention and care. And here today we're doing a tasting, looking at all the different lots to ensure that they are all in the best condition, that they are being aged correctly in the right type of wood, and ensuring that the wines will, whether they require to be taken off their lees and what other work needs to be done. The result of the aging process involves many different people along the way. It involves our coopers who will be looking after the many wooden vessels that we have, the workers in our lodges who carefully manage and handle these wines on a day-to-day basis, and the people who are here today in the sample room and myself who will be tasting and blending regularly new lots for bottling.
Good to see you. How are you?
Os vinhos da Grams que aqui estamos a provar são produzidos e elaborados pela nossa família desde há várias gerações. E foi nesta sala de provas que o meu primo Peter ensinou ao seu filho Charles a arte de lutar os vinhos de Porto. Acreditamos que o segredo do sucesso dos nossos vinhos está na dedicação desta família, ligada ao vinho de Porto há 14 gerações, pelo lado da nossa bisavó, Beatriz da Carvalhosa Atkinson. Mas mesmo em Vila Nova da Gaia, onde os vinhos envelhecem, nunca esquecemos a sua origem, as nossas lindas vinhas no Douro.